Alright guys, welcome back to another video complaining about another wait a minute, my notes say this was a good event? Alright, well, anyway guys, welcome back to another Asphalt Legends Unite video, and today I guess I am not going to be complaining. Today we are talking about the 499P Mayhem event currently going on in Alu, and this one caught me by surprise, and I think it caught a lot of you guys by surprise as well. So before I get into it, I just want to mention a couple of things. Firstly, all of my social media links will be in the description down below, along with my Instagram and Discord if you want to hang out with me. And the gameplay you're mostly going to be seeing in the background is a test drive provided to me by GameLoft. It is my gameplay, but GameLoft let me access the 499P at max, so I was able to test it on a bunch of tracks. So if you're curious to see what this car performs like at max, you can take a look at that gameplay on screen now. I will do a little bit of a review later on in the video, but for now, let's talk about the event. So as I mentioned before, it is called a Mayhem event. I don't know if that's some sort of special naming scheme or whatever, but either way, it is laid out very similarly to a normal special event, just like you would have any other new car in the game. And that's what caught me by surprise, because it wasn't called a special hunt or anything like that. It was just laid out in the normal special event sort of, well, layout. So today I want to talk about it because it's a very, very good move by GameLoft, and in my opinion, it is actually the best event we've had since Alu's launch. And I mean that because with this event, we have a bunch of different support cars, and you might think that that's a bad thing, and initially I did too, but in each of the stages where you get to play with the 499P for free, if you can get to those conditions, you get a boatload of blueprints for all of those support cars. So you can definitely unlock them, you can definitely star them up. I was so surprised at how far I was able to go. My Porsche Carrera GT is now at max, which is a very good B-class car for multiplayer. I managed to star up my AMG GT Black Series all the way up to, I believe, 4 out of 5 stars, and that's a very good C Elite class car, by the way. So if you don't have an Elite C class car, be sure to get your hands on the AMG GT Black Series. And in addition to that, I was able to unlock the Noble M600, and I think I bought like one pack for it for 750 tokens, and now I have it at 2 stars. And for me, that's a very special car, not only because it is a pretty decent A-class car, but of course it's also very nostalgic for me because I watched a lot of Top Gear back in the good old days, and the Noble M600 was a pretty big part. I think it's like a new generation or something like that, but either way, Noble being in Asphalt is a pretty big deal to me, so I was very happy to get that car. So in addition to the fact that you are getting all of these support cars essentially for free, because you have the ability to either unlock them, or if you already have them, you can star them up pretty significantly, it also means that you can progress very far into the special event, which is a very good thing. So I'm not going to go ahead and do the math about all the different blueprints you're going to get in total, or how many conditions you're going to get in total, or anything like that. But what I can tell you is I am currently on stage 8, and I didn't spend any tokens at all except for that one pack to 2-star the Noble, because I just kind of wanted it in orange, to be honest. And even then, I still have, I think, 25 blueprints to get for the Mercedes. I have 50 blueprints I can get for the Carrera GT, and again, those cars are already at or close to max. So that's why I said this event caught me by surprise, because it's not just getting, 15, 20 blueprints in total for each of these support cars, it is literally unlocking them and starring them up pretty significantly. So you might be asking, why in the world is GameLoft doing this? Well, to tell you the truth, well, I really don't know. So that's sort of one thing, but I do want to speculate a little bit, because it does seem like they're changing a little bit of the philosophy in terms of special events. And in my opinion, this is really going to do 2 major things. For free-to-play users such as myself, it's just such a nice thing. It's a break. It's a freebie, and it's going to keep us playing the game. It's going to keep me happy for a while, at least getting these 3 free cars. And I know for players who maybe have been struggling recently, again, this freebie is going to be just a nice sort of, tossing us a bone or something like that. It's just a nice thing, and it's going to make the community very, very happy. And even in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure GameLoft is calculating like, how much money they could have made if they didn't give us all of this stuff versus the player satisfaction and the retention. And that's the most important thing for free-to-play games nowadays, is retention. You want to keep your player base strong, you want to keep them coming back regardless of they're spending money today, because they might spend money in the future if they're coming back. So again, you may look at this and say, well, it's obviously just manipulation or whatever, but at the end of the day, you are getting stuff for free, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that if we give GameLoft the positive reception, maybe they can carry this philosophy on to future events. Now, of course, the other thing that I was mentioning in regards to just, well, obviously, if you're a free-to-play user, you're going to get this stuff for free. If you're a paid user, the fact that you are getting these support cars, obviously, you're probably already going to have them, but if you're starting them up and you're progressing further into the event, that's going to incentivize you to further spend money to obviously get the car, because you're going to require less blueprints and less money to unlock it. So it's really doing both positive for the free-to-play users and for the premium users as well. Now, one thing I want to mention is I've seen a little bit of debate in the community regarding, okay, is this event better than something like a special hunt or a car hunt? And guys, I don't even think it's an argument. This event is obviously and clearly better than any of those other events, because the grind for this event is similar to a special event grind where you only have to play like 5 races for each of the levels. Whereas with the special hunt and the car hunt, you're playing hundreds of races. And even if you're talking about the Drive Syndicate, because you can get a lot of those cars for free or just by spending a little bit of tokens, you do have that entire grind you have to go through. Whereas with this event, you're just basically given cars out of the blue. So just wrapping up discussion about the event, I hope GameLoft continues this, because maybe they can scale back the actual cars that they give out for free, because these are very, very good cars. I mean, one of them is literally in C Elite. The other 2 are very good in it of themselves. So I don't know if they'll be that generous next time around, but giving players free cars is just such a good way to encourage them to not only come back and play, but also spend more money in the future, of course, if they want to. So it's just a nice boost for morality, and I really hope they continue with this, because I think it is worth it for GameLoft to give up that revenue of just giving us those free cars in exchange for the player satisfaction. But anyway, let's talk about the 499P. If you weren't aware of where this car came from, it was actually the Le Mans car turned into a race car that you can drive, and it was featured in the previous Asphalt Series 2024 finals that was held in Ferrari Land, Spain. If you haven't checked that out yet, I casted the whole tournament. It was such an incredible experience, so please check that out. But that car was actually used in that tournament, and now you can get it in game. Now overall, this is definitely a multiplayer focused car. The top speed is actually below average at 232, which again is pretty high, but relative to the higher end A-class cars is kind of low, but every other stat is really, really good. Over 84 acceleration and great nitro efficiency and pretty great handling as well. You'll notice that on those twisty tracks like the Caribbean, I have absolutely no problem cutting through the corners like a knife through hot butter, or I think it's a hot knife through butter. Anyway, you get the point. This car is so dang good in the corners, and it's going to be a screamer on those twisty tracks. So again, for multiplayer, this is going to be a very, very versatile car, because sure, even on those longer tracks, you might struggle against the top speed oriented opponents, but because you have very good acceleration, you could sort of get the edge on them and maybe block them if you're in Classic. So either way, this is going to be a very potent car for multiplayer. Alrighty guys, so I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of the Ferrari 499P Mayhem event, and of course the car itself, in the comment section down below. I think if GameLoft continues to do this sort of event with giving out free cars that were just required for the event, I think that's a really good thing. It's going to boost player morale, and it's going to make everyone happy regardless of what you stand on it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all later.